Chamberlain! You whimpering worm!
Man, you need to watch the Dark Crystal show on Netflix.
Trial by
What's stopping
stone!
you?
Trial by stone! Douche.
Trial by Man, I wish I were Fizzgig. I look like Fizzgig. I want to be Fizzgig.
You act like Fizzgig.
Spiritually, on all levels except physical, I am Fizzgig.
Well, I don't have any wings. Of course not. You're a boy.
I can't do this alone.
All right. Alone then.
Anyways, we are not doing a podcast anymore. This is officially just us talking for an hour and a half about why you should watch The Dark Crystal.
Reason 1,
it's amazing.
it's got puppets.
Reason number 2, Jim Henson.
Reason number 3.
Alright.
And if you've seen it, you know what we mean.
You know what we mean. Alright. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Divers and Drivers. Hell yeah!
Woo! Season 2.
Season 2, episode
3.
Why are we saying everything at the same time? Holy fuck! I'm excited for this episode. This is our first Media Morgue episode of season 2, which, for those of you who don't know, Media Morgue, we have different episode categories, and this is Media Morgue, where we talk about all things media. So, movies, music, books,
paintings,
social media, paintings,
visual arts, theater,
people, theater, writing, media, and just anything that might be construed as media. Oh, before we begin the episode, let's do our little zodiac calendar. Zodiac events happening for the next 2 weeks, more or less. Quinn, what do we got going on in the next 2 weeks? Psych! Wrong question. You want to know why? Because I'm presenting the Zodiac news today. Yes, me, your host, Juana Moya. I use she, her pronouns. Fun fact about me, I got a haircut yesterday, and I'm very happy about it. I look very snazzy.
Woo!
Also, this is your co-host, Quinn Cologne.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. I'm sorry, the way I introduced myself made it sound like it's my podcast.
Nope.
It is not. It is ours.
We are co-hosts. It is me, your other host, Quinn. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. Fun fact about me, that's
a good one. I like that about you. Alright, so, Zodiac calendar for the next 2 weeks. Until the next episode, in which we will give you another Zodiac calendar. Right, so, today is April 15th.
Yes.
Well, when you're listening to this, it will be April 15th. Tomorrow, at the time of listening, it will be April 16th. What do we got going on April 16th?
What do we got going on April 16th?
Thank you so much for asking, co-host Quinn Cologne, pronouns they, them, theirs, Reverend Lord Quinn. We've got a full moon going on.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, which can be, intense for some people. This is a wind moon. Also a pink moon. Woo! Also the first supermoon of the year. So, which means it's going to be a little bit brighter.
There's so much happening.
It's going to be a brighter moon. She's going to look bigger. She's going to look nicer. She's, getting dolled up.
She's getting dressed up for us.
Painting the town pink.
I love her. I'm in love with her. We
are all in love with her. This is called the wind moon. Also pink moon, but mostly the wind moon. And this month is this month's full moon is about spreading seeds and new possibility and new opportunity.
Planting stuff.
With it in the sign of Scorpio, it's a really good time for understanding and truth.
Hello, listeners. This is Juana Moya coming to you live from editing. I am not editing, but we are editing this section in because I made a little mistake on the Zodiac calendar. So we are here to correct that. So on Saturday, the correction that I made originally in the recording, I say that it is a Scorpio full moon, That is incorrect. We are having a full moon in Libra. It is going to be a supermoon, meaning that you'll be able to see the moon closer to Earth, so it's a little bit closer, which means it's going to be brighter, and people generally say that supermoons are more powerful. Full moons, as we know, they are always opposite the sun sign, so we are in Aries season, which means that the full moon is going to be in Libra. What this means is that full moons are about releasing what isn't serving you in your life anymore. This moon is focusing on the sign of Libra, meaning it is all about determining which relationships in your life need reevaluation. Take off your rose-colored glasses, my Libra friends, and see what friendships, romantic relationships, or environments aren't serving you. It's also a time to keep your own peace and beauty, as Libra is known for this flair and lighthearted energy. It's just, hot girl summer is around the corner, right? You want to get rid of anything that's not serving you. Anybody can be a hot girl this summer. So it's just about making sure you get there, making sure you keep your own peace. You know, it's all about just being in your own vibe and making sure nobody disturbs you and making sure that whatever friendships and relationships you do keep around, it's for the betterment of yourself and the other person. And that you're not doing it because you're idealizing your friends or your environment, and that you're doing it because it's good for you. This has been your little astrological correction. I love you all. Let us get back to the episode. Mwah!
And, you know, with everything that we know about full moons, it's about purging things that don't serve you. But also, with this moon in particular, it's about planting seeds for new opportunities while keeping all doors and all options open. You know, so you don't want to be too nitpicky with what might come your way. And just keep an eye out. Spread, you know, keep your opportunities open, keep your options open, and carry it and handle it with understanding and truth and intuition. Aries energy is very much like, yes, go everywhere, do everything all the time. Manipulate your manifestations so they work for you.
Yeah, shape it.
Yep. So that's the moon that we've got going on. Another thing that we've got going on in the next few days is that Taurus season is rolling around. The sun is going to move into the sign of Taurus on April 19th.
Yay, Taurus.
Right? So Taurus season is coming in right after Aries season. Like I mentioned, it is a very fiery sign. And with spring in flux and, you know, Taurus season arriving, it's a really good time to get back in touch with yourself and reestablish your focuses and your goals on what you want to accomplish internally rather than externally. Like I said before, Aries season, it's fiery energy. It's a lot of like headstrong, very like driven, like go all the time energy. But Taurus season is a time of checking in with yourself and enjoying your own comfort and beauty and like having that time set aside for yourself. Taurus is also notorious for being another very stubborn sign.
Taurus is
notorious.
Yeah.
So it's a very stubborn sign. So this is a really good time to make decisions based on yourself and say them with your chest. So, you know, be gentle with yourself and don't compromise your goals or your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so just check back in with yourself. Be stubborn with yourself. You know, enjoy your own beauty and your own company, because that's there. It's like it's a more subdued period right after Aries season, which is very nice to think about. I really love the fact that Earth seasons come after fire seasons, because fire signs are very much like, woo! Do things! Let's go! Woo! Let's go! And then Earth signs are like, alright, let's settle down a minute. Let's check back in.
Let's relax.
Let's relax a moment. So, those are the events. Those are the astrological events coming your way in the next 2 weeks. Very excited for this period. Especially because spring is here. And after winter, you want to do a bunch of things. But maybe it's just best to, like, sit for a little bit. And if you did, like, any tarot readings or divination for the spring equinox like I did, you will know that this is a very good time to just chill out and check in with yourself. Spring is here. Ain't nothing to worry about. With this out of the way, Quinn! Media Morgue. Media Morgue.
Media Morgue.
Media Morgue. Media Morgue because video killed the radio star, and self-expression is a form of media. And this is a foreshadowing.
Media Morgue because video killed the radio star, and dragons are fucking awesome.
Yo! I almost bought a How to Train Your Dragon vinyl today, and then I didn't because money, and it's expensive,
Money.
but I really am regretting it because I love the How to Train Your Dragon score. What we've got in store for this Media Morgue episode. Listen, Quinn,
Yes?
how would you, we're going to start with a question. How would you describe your sense of style?
That is a good question. I would say more hippie now. Also kind of Renaissance-y, borderline 1500s, 1400s when in the right mood. And also, I'm beginning to branch out into the more, not boyish style, but the style where it's like jeans and then like a nice t-shirt and then some accessories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to kind of branch out into that slowly but surely. So yeah, a combination of those three things, which are very interesting.
I go through lots of different labels with my style. Like, I call them very different things at different points. You know this.
Normal.
I really wanted incredibly badly to be dark academia for a while.
I've wanted to be that before too. It never came true.
It just doesn't work out. Also because we live in Florida and that many layers is not...
It's like, fuck. Especially now.
Especially
with
now.
Global warming.
Oh, I was going to say because summer is around the corner.
Both things. I think.
Right, so I go through lots of phases. A lot of people say that I look very prep when I dress. That's not what I go for, generally.
I don't see prep very much at all. I don't know what that is.
You've called me prep before. You've called the way that I dress very prep before. And that's not, and that's derogatory to me, frankly, actually. I
guess I can see it, but I think it's more in your color scheme than in what you actually wear.
Thank you.
Because your color scheme, I feel like prep is more like the specific clothes, preppy clothes could be like polos, button-ups, khakis, like quote-unquote nicer things, right? But your color scheme sometimes can be very prep in terms of you tend to go with the lighter colors. Like, there's this flannel that you wear all the time that is this brown flannel, but borderline a khaki color, and then if you pair that with a white shirt and some blue jeans, which you have done before, which looks good, it can be interpreted as a prep look. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay, so the reason I bring this up is because in the past year, you know this, I've discovered it's my favorite Instagram account. It's the one that I look forward to most on my feed. It's called Watching New York, right? And it's run by this dude. Let me look up his name. Johnny Cirillo, I believe is pronounced. Johnny Cirillo. He's a photographer. And he's been called, like, I discovered him in a New York Times article because I'm well read. And I used to subscribe to the New York Times. I love propaganda. But he has been called in the New York Times, like the pedestrians paparazzi or something along those lines. Because his whole deal is that he will walk around the streets of New York and take paparazzi-style photos of just random people, of just civilians, that he thinks look good. And then he uploads them, and he uploads them on Instagram, and he tags them, and it's great. And it's phenomenal seeing how much drip everyday people have. Like, you don't see it very often, but obviously, like, in mass media, sure, if we go for that.
Euphoria.
You know, like, in Euphoria and, like, these other shows, you don't really see just how regular people dress very often, but regular people have so much taste and, like, have, like, really kooky, like, just different ways of dressing. Like, there are some, obviously, like, incredible ranges in how people decide to clothe themselves and everything like that. And, you know, it's a phenomenal Instagram page, and I recommend it to everyone, literally. Like, I've talked about this so many times to different people. But you know, and sometimes he interviews these people. Like, he's like, oh, who are you wearing? What are you wearing? And he gets their stories. And, like, you know, sometimes it's, like, just Zara and, like, putting different things together. A lot of times, like, their things are thrifted. And then, you know, you get other people who are like, yeah, I made this when I was homeless. And, like, I was, like, inspired by this one piece. And now I sell them. And I make a bunch of money off of it and stuff. So and it's, like, it's a lot of really interesting different stories. And it gets me thinking, like, fashion is media, and fashion is like a whole form. Like, everybody knows that fashion and how you dress yourself is self-expression, right? Duh. But it's so much deeper than that, and it has a lot of nuance, and not a lot of people give it the time of day, just because, you know, it's so easy to say, like, oh, I just throw this on and I don't put a lot of effort in you know, how I look in the mornings, or, like, it's, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on that. It's like frivolous. Mm-hmm. Like caring so much about what you wear. When in actuality, it's incredibly important to me when, you know, when you first meet someone, and it's like seeing how they dress themselves and seeing their style just says so much about them.
I borderline, like, in a way, see how people dress themselves as, this is going to sound very odd and capitalistic, but I see it as kind of like an advertisement, in a way that it's like, like, not necessarily that they're marketing themselves, even though they kind of are in a way, but not necessarily they're like,
tough term to use, yeah.
Exactly. It's like, they're not like, oh, you should pay me money, or you should do this, you should pay attention to me. It's just advertisements are like, you know, quick things you see that are made to grab your attention. Mm-hmm. When someone dresses a specific way, they obviously are dressing that way to, one, make themselves feel better, which is the most important thing, most obvious thing, but there's also this other aspect to it, which we can't deny, because everybody does it. We do it to impress and or make other people look at us in a way, and perceive us a certain way that we want to be perceived.
Yep.
Whether it be to attract, you know, people you're interested in, or just to walk down the street and have people look at you and be like, wow, they look so good. Or they look so weird, or they look so interesting, etc. So, in a, like, I completely agree. Fashion is totally a, what's the word? Form of media, a form of entertainment. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's why fashion shows exist. Because if it wasn't a form of entertainment, that wouldn't happen.
Absolutely. I've been to a fashion show a few months ago, just run by a couple of students here in Miami. Like, most of them go to, like, an art school. But, like, they do fashion, like, after, like, as an extracurricular. And it was, like, genuinely so interesting to see what they came up with. Because they all had, like, different themes. Like, my friend's theme was, like, denim, I believe. And, like, they had to, like, make different outfits. And, like, he was covered in, like, safety pins as well. And it was, like, a really interesting to watch. So, it's, you know. And a lot of times, fashion is an art form, like, in terms of fashion shows. Because it's there for the spectacle. A lot of times people, like, see fashion shows and be like, wow, that's not something you would ever wear in real life. Yeah, that's not the point. Mm-hmm. It's the spectacle. It's, like, being able to see exactly, like, what are the limits of what the human body can represent. And in terms of, just backtracking to what you said earlier, like, when you first meet someone and seeing exactly, like, what it is they're wearing, you know, not to... You know what? I'm not even going to sugarcoat this shit. Everybody judges books by their cover.
Yeah.
You judge, you know, you perceive people differently by what they wear. You know,
your first judgment of a person is what they're wearing.
Yeah, regardless of whether we want to admit it or not. You know, if I go somewhere and I see people dressed like me, like, dressed...
That's true.
I'm gonna know already, like, I'm gonna fucking resonate with these people. I work...
Usually. Sometimes that's not the case.
No, of course. But, like, you get a feeling for their vibe and everything like that. I work at the mall on weekends. And a lot of the people who go there, to this very particular mall that I work at, I catch their vibe immediately... And, like, I see what they're wearing. A lot of the times, dudes, like the dads wear polo shirts and, like, jeans. And, like, it's usually, like, Lacoste? Lacoste. Not lacrosse. Lacoste.
The alligator?
Yeah, the little alligator. And then, you know, the women will be wearing, like, off-the-shoulder tops, long skirts, you know, sandals, you know, like, I can tell, like, this is the crowd, but every now and again, I will see a group of teenagers dressed, like, in more, like, grunge, punky clothes, and I'm like, ah, yes.
You're like, yeah.
I don't have to use my customer service voice with these guys, you know, so, it's how you're perceived, and it, you know, it gives people, like, a view into, like, who you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, which is why for me, for the longest time, it's been incredibly important for me, like, dressing myself and, like, putting outfits together is something that I'm very proud of. And it's something that I enjoy doing, right? The joke is, amongst me and my friends on campus and everything, is that I have a default outfit. Which, Quinn, what is my default outfit right now?
Your default outfit?
Yeah, or like variations of the outfit, of like the same outfit that I wear.
Big pant. I think it depends on what the scenario is, but usually
like,
what you wear
yeah.
is big pant, little shirt, usually like a crop top. I'm remembering the white one or the red one specifically. And then a flannel or your new hoodie that you like. You've been bringing that one a lot. And then now it's your Converse.
Yes.
And then sometimes you wear a chain.
Yeah.
Depends on how you feel.
Yeah.
That's but literally big pant, little shirt is usually what you
right?
go for.
So that's like, and I have variations of that same outfit. Like, you know, I live like a cartoon character, and that is the default outfit, and then I have variations, and that is it, right? But for the longest time, and you know this, every year in high school, I would look completely different from one year to the next. Because I would have a different haircut, different glasses, and a different style almost for every single year.
But I think me too. I think that's normal because you're trying new things.
No, of course. But for me, like, if you look at a picture of me, you'll know exactly what year it was specifically. Like, in my sophomore year specifically, I had, like, a really, really short haircut, like, short, floofy hair.
Yeah.
Shorter than I have now. Aviators, and I only wore Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
And tie-dye shirts.
Bring it back, baby.
And then junior year, I had my little John Lennon glasses. I had the round glasses.
I remember when
bangs, and I wore like sweaters a lot of the time.
I remember when End of the Fucking World came out, and you would not stop talking about how bad you wanted the main character's, I forget his name, James's Hawaiian shirt. You would not stop talking about how badly you wanted a Hawaiian shirt just like that. And I was like, okay, so get one. And you were like, no. And I was like, bruh. I remember. Yes. I remember you telling me about that.
It's the queer thing where you want to look like someone but also date them.
Yeah.
And except that was me towards a male character, so it wasn't really queer, but it was like the queer experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like finding out your sense of style is incredibly important. And you know, like I always get kind of icked out when people are like, "No, I don't really care about what I throw on in the morning," because I'm like, why wouldn't you?
That's kind of me. At this point,
why wouldn't you? No, but you do get dressed up, and you do like have days, you know, like
I do, but also
you dress. Also, people dress for the day that they have.
Yeah.
You work. You're at school like all fucking day, so you want to be wearing more comfortable clothes.
And also, it's part of the thing being a theater major. You're like required to wear like more neutral clothes that you can move around in.
Exactly.
Because one of the big things is you don't want to walk into the room and then look a specific way. Because also what you wear determines you sometimes, and it changes your behavior. It does.
Yes, it
does.
that's
one of the things we study in theater. Like, if you walk in wearing a crop top and a miniskirt, you're gonna act different than if you're wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. And I think that's another really important thing, is wearing, depending on what you wear, it can totally change how you behave around people. I also wanted to bring up two other points that I had as you were talking. The first point, back to the fashion show, we have to remember that clothes are a form of art.
They really
I remember this Gigi Hadid interview where there was this one runway show she was doing where she did this thing where she flipped her hair, which she wasn't told to do, wasn't supposed to do. But she said the people asked, oh, why'd you do it? She didn't really get in trouble. People loved it when she did it, but she just, like, it wasn't supposed to happen. So she was explaining that she did it because the back of the dress she thought was beautifully done, and she wanted to showcase the back of the dress, but her hair was covering it. So in order to showcase, like, the dress itself, she moved her hair so that the people watching could see it. And that, I think, is just kind of indicative of, like, if you look at brands like Gucci, Balenciaga, etc., they make some pretty disturbing things. Like, you look at those websites sometimes, and you're like, who the fuck is wearing this? Most of that stuff isn't made for people to actually fucking wear. Like, it's made for people to have, because it's an art piece made by these select artists. Like, when you're that... Now, to be fair, I think name brand and expensive brand clothes are dumb. I don't think they're... I don't get the point of it. That's me personally. I am arguing for the artistic side of it. I can understand. Because when you buy something from these places, you're basically owning a wearable art piece. That's basically what you're owning. And that is completely understandable. At the same time, I don't think half this shit should be that expensive. Sometimes it feels like a social experiment when they're selling ripped tights, like ripped leggings, distressed leggings for like $600, and you're like, I could make that. It feels like a social experiment, and the problem is it works. It works. No, but so that's a big thing for me. I think people forget that clothing can be made into art because it's such a thing that we're used to having around, and it is literally...
Yeah, people take it for granted.
Yeah, we take it for granted because literally we're forced to wear it. Like, obviously, if society didn't exist, we'd all be naked running around and we wouldn't give a shit. However, we live in our form of society where clothing is like expected and mandatory, and that's perfectly fine. But then we lose the artisticness of it,
Yeah, clothing is also supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be an experiment, and you're supposed to play around with it, which is why we go through so many phases when we're young, trying out different forms of clothes. I didn't buy my first, and I always say this to people, especially when I wear them, I didn't buy my first dress or skirt until last year. For a majority of my life, I stopped wearing skirts and dresses when I was 4 years old. I fucking hated them. Like, I remember vividly being in elementary school and being forced to wear the uniform, and my mom got me one of the skirts, and I was like, I don't want this. Get me shorts instead. Please, for the love of God. Like, I hate wearing skirts. And
then she did.
Right? And then I turned, then quarantine happened. I was inside, I was thinking a lot about expression and messing around with that, and I was like, hey, I want to buy a skirt. I really want to just try it out. I bought myself a little jean skirt that I'm actually donating now, because it was through that I was able to be like, jean skirts aren't really my type of skirt. But I bought my first skirt and I bought my first dress, and it's a dress that I still love and wear all the time. So it's just a matter of playing around and figuring that out and experimenting, because honestly, and I wanted to say this earlier too, the clothes maketh the man. And as much as we want to not believe that, and as much as we think that it's shallow, you 100% act differently when you have different clothes on.
Yeah.
My default outfit, the one that we were talking about earlier, the crop top and the big pants and the platforms, that is something that I feel comfortable in. That is something that I feel like I look good in. It's something, I feel cool when I wear it. I feel like super laid back and chill, and like I feel like it perfectly encapsulates me as a person. Especially when I wear the chain, because it's like down to earth, but also it's got that edge. But also, and it's got like, I wear big platforms because I'm short, but also I just like how platforms look. So it's like I wear big funky shoes because, I'm a funky looking person.
Funky fellow.
I've got a septum piercing. I've got multiple tattoos. I wear big old round glasses, and my hair is two-toned. Like, I'm presenting myself in this way because I am an eccentric, loud, crazy person, and that resonates with me, right? But, I turn around and I wear this dress, and I'm a lot daintier, and I'm a lot, more, feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And, wearing that dress has helped me get in touch a lot more with my femininity, which is something that throughout my entire life I've struggled with, and now it's a welcomed change in my life. And I'm really loving this, like, era of skirts and dresses and, like, wearing more makeup and playing around with, like, more feminine forms of expression. Like, fashion is meant to be fun, and you're meant to be comfortable with it and fuck around and see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. And another thing is, when we're talking about, like, perceiving people based off of what they wear, it's true, but it's been a joke in all of society that gay people dress a specific way.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell a person is gay by the way they dress, or you can assume that they are gay, because especially now with certain clothing styles just becoming more common and etc., it's a lot harder to really tell now, which can be a little frustrating for us queers. But we understand.
It can be a little bit more frustrating for
us. It's a little bit more frustrating for us. It's always been a thing that queer people have kind of identified each other through the things that they wear. Or at least people that you can assume would be okay with you being queer by what they wear. Which is why it was such a big deal when there was that TikTok guy who dressed like he was gay. Everybody said it because it was true. He dressed like he was gay, but he was super homophobic. Everyone was like, you're basically appropriating culture. And, like, as silly as that is, that's kind of what it feels like. Because the way a person dresses expresses specific ideals.
Yes.
So if you are dressed as someone who is punk rock and you have a giant afro a giant mohawk is what I meant to say, or an afro, you can have an afro and be punk, you know what I mean? But I'm specifically talking, in my head, I'm imagining giant red Liberty spikes all over your head, or in a mohawk formation, and you're wearing a black spiked.
You're wearing the punk jacket.
Jean jacket or leather jacket and the patches and etc. And you turn out to be a Nazi. That is completely contradictory and a horrible thing to do, because you're presenting the idea that you go against these. We've talked about how Nazism isn't allowed in punk scenes, and it's not. But this is another perfect example. When you present as a way that seems to be against this system or against this thing, and then you find out that you actually are against that, in a way, it's like you're kind of, like, baiting people to then disagree with them, or to then put them in a place that makes them unsafe. And that's why clothing and the way you are perceived is, in a way, also, as you were saying, like, the clothes make it the man. It's so important. Also not important at all, but also so important, because obviously what you wear does not define you as a person. It doesn't. No. But it gives people
your clothes.
Yes. But it gives other people a good idea of how you might be as a person, which is why it's especially confusing when someone presents themselves in a certain way and then is the complete opposite. Now, that being said, they have every right to do that, you know, like, if you're racist and a Nazi, what are we gonna do? Strip you every time you exit the house? That's fucking weird!
Honestly, I prefer it, frankly. I think tar and feather them bitches, you know? That's the only thing that they can wear.
Fair. However, it's not like we're gonna stop you, but it's just, that's something that can be, like, a little confusing. Clothes are very important, and can be very, very important to certain cultures, and queer culture is one of them. Punk culture is one of them, etc. So that was my point.
And also, like, it's you know, we want, again with what you were saying, like, we want so badly to say that clothes are incredibly superficial, that, like, you know, but they are statements. Clothing, what you wear is a statement. Yeah. It's not just expression. It is, you know, it can very 100% be a political statement, because, you know, and, like, especially amongst queer circles in New York, and, like, I'm sure in other places as well, but I haven't, you know, really, I'm not very knowledgeable of it. I just know basic knowledge. There used to be laws where, you know, like, I want to say, like, in the 50s and the 60s, in New York, where you would have to wear at least, like, and this specifically targeted gay people who went to clubs and, like, went to gay clubs, like, during the age of, like, Stonewall and shit. where it was like a law where you would have to wear at least 3 pieces of gender-affirming clothing at all times. Because if not, you would be stopped by the police and you would, be sent to fucking jail. And they did that to target queer people and to target trans people specifically, so... And again, with what you were saying, like in punk circles, it's so common to like have a punk jacket or punk pants.
Yeah, crust jackets.
Where you just yes, exactly, where you just cover them in patches, like,
and you don't wash them.
and you never wash them. But also like even smaller things like frat shoes, where it's like you like I hear this all the time because I go to a very party heavy school, where you would like I would hear people like talking about like what they're gonna dress to, what they're gonna wear to frat parties, and then they would always be like, oh, but it doesn't match my frat shoes or whatever. And it's because you have a specific set of shoes that you only wear to frat parties because those are the ones that you're gonna get shit all over, right? So it's incredibly telling about your beliefs, about what you do, how you spend your time, like how you choose not to spend your time. Like for the longest time, I was so, like, and this was when I was, like, in my more androgynous phase, I'm talking, like, early high school, I was so against, like, internally against crop tops, because I was, like, yeah, it's so revealing, you're putting so much of yourself out, and I wasn't against them for other people, I was against them for myself.
Yeah.
I was like, you're putting so much of yourself out there, physically speaking, right? And now that's all I wear. I think they're the cutest fucking things in the world.
Crop
a little
tops
crop
are so
top,
cute.
shit, man. Or like a little baby tee. Holy fuck. Fucking give me all of like, shut up and take my fucking money. Anytime, literally, I went to the Conan Gray concert. I love Conan Gray. It was my second time seeing him live. Met him in person. That shit was fucking insane. At the concert, when I went to the merch booth, the shirts were all $35, right? Those are like normal concert merch prices.
Should be expensive over there.
When there was a baby tee there that I saw, it was $40. A baby tee has less fabric than a normal shirt. They priced it to $40. I bought that fucking baby tee. Let's go. $40 shirt. Let's go. Those are the most expensive shirts that I own. I don't normally, but it's very much, it's incredibly telling. Fashion is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
First and foremost, right? So, of course,
or it can be a reflection of you.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah. When you're given the parameters and the freedom to dress how you like, that's when it becomes an expression of yourself.
If you go to a fucking
private school?
Boarding school. If you go to a boarding school and you have to, or any private school or any school that you have to wear a uniform, I mean, that is also kind of telling, because then you can know, usually, you can be like, oh, that person has a lot of money and is probably an asshole.
No, but also
from how I perceive private school kids, no offense.
When we went to middle school, Quinn and I went to the same middle and high school. It was like a middle and high school, so it was grades 6 through 12, right? When we attended like our years in middle school there, it was a school with a set uniform code. When we did high school, however, they got rid of the uniform code because they just didn't want to enforce it anymore.
They're like, nah.
However, when we were in middle school, there were still so many ways for us, and like it was way more limited. But there were hella ways for us. Yeah. And we got creative with it.
I mean, they didn't limit on accessories. Some schools do, but for us, they didn't limit on accessories. And like, they had different colored shirt. They had different colored shirt uniforms. So if you had a black one, that would, there were black ones, teal ones, white ones. I think I usually had the teal ones. I wasn't cool.
We weren't cool. I had the lime green
but also
one, dude.
You were allowed to wear hoodies over the shirts. Yeah. So some people would come in and just wear the hoodies and not wear the shirts. And then if teachers were like, you need to take the hoodie off, they'd be like, I'm not wearing anything underneath this. And the teachers would be like, fine. What are they going to do?
What are you going to do? Yes. So like, again, and like we were really sneaky with that shit. Like, I was one of those kids who would just not wear anything underneath my hoodie just to, like, come to school. And, like, we would, like, fuck around and, like, find out.
Our school also did this thing where it was so strange. Every Friday, you could wear jeans for $10, but only blue jeans. Like, any other colored jeans, you were allowed to wear any other day of the week. Like, black jeans, whatever. But if you wore blue jeans, you would go to the office, and you could only wear blue jeans on Fridays for $10. It was strange.
It was very weird.
Very odd.
I mean, they did that same thing in my elementary school, but we were all kids, it gave us more freedom, and they did it for $5. They were like, casual Wednesdays, you get to dress out of uniform for $5, and we were all like, okay.
But on Fridays we still had to wear the uniform shirt.
Yes, no, of course, it was weird.
It was just blue jeans.
You know, so like, given the parameters, whatever parameters, people will most likely find ways to. You know, and then, like...
If they feel like it.
Even then, if they feel like it, even then, like, in Lady Bird, if you've watched Lady Bird, there are scenes, because they go to a Catholic school in that movie, there are scenes where you have girls, like, hiking up their skirts and rolling it up and unbuttoning their polos a little bit at a Catholic girls' school to, you know, do that. And that's fine, you know, of course. But I feel like we should also mention that with fashion... And this is, you know, this is another point that I want to bring up. With fashion, not unlike every other facet of, you know, capitalism, there are going to be, like, you know, more elitist forms of it and everything like that. You know, like, I've written an article last year, or 2 years ago. 2 years ago now. Shit! Talking about, you know, thrifting and, like, the economy and the politics behind it, because, you know, Gen Zers, especially a few years ago, and it's still really strong now, but a few years ago, like, thrifting became, like, the hottest thing you could do. Like, you, and, like, it makes sense because, you know, a lot of Midwesterners have zero shit to be doing at all times, you know, so, like, what else are they gonna do? You go to a thrift store and, you know, you shop around and shit like that, and it like, we did it in excess, and it became a problem. Yeah. Right? You know, and there's so much discourse now, especially, like, with fashion and fast fashion, about, like, who's allowed to wear what, with, like, under what circumstances, and, like, a lot of people are policing, you know, other people's closets. And sometimes justifiably so, sometimes not justifiably so. Like, I remember a few years ago, when I had TikTok, I think this must have been in 2020, and I was just scrolling.
That's when I had TikTok too.
Yeah, I was just scrolling, and I see this one TikTok of a girl, you know, she was, like, she dressed alternative, you know, so, like, it was all black, skirts, you know, hoodies, fishnets, you know, very much, like, scene culture. Yeah, it was scene, like, early 2000s Hot Topic style, but in 2020, and she was, like...
Oh, so emo?
Yeah, she dressed emo. She was talking about how she, like, a lot of people were saying that she looked like she had more money than she did because of how she dressed. And she was like, I curate my closet to fit how I want to express myself. Yeah. But I do it on a budget, because she was, like, her and her family were working class. Like, they were not, like, in the best, like, financial conditions. And so she literally made an entire video about where she gets her clothes and, like, how she manages to look the way that she does with the budget that she has. And she was talking about, like, yeah, I get my skirts and my fishnets from Wish most of the time. You know, I buy a couple of pieces on Shein because I want to look good, but I don't have the means money to, you know, go to LaModa and to buy these platforms and to, like, Dolls Kill or fucking, like, I can't afford demonias and shit. Like, I want demonias, I can't afford them. Sobbing. You know? So, there are elements of classism 100% present in how anybody dresses.
Of course, that's always been a thing, though. In the fucking Victorian times, or Edwardian, or I don't know, whatever, back in the day, you know, there were literally laws stating what colors, in Britain, of course, there were literally, and other European countries, laws saying that peasants could not wear certain colors because it was the royalty colors.
Oh, that's existed, like...
It's all, there's always been a level of elitism and classism in clothing, because clothing so much shows who you are and what you do, etc.
And further beyond that, even beyond like what the example that you just gave, like in ancient Rome, like the reason the color purple is associated with like royalty and stuff is because like during ancient Greek and Roman times, purple was like amongst the most expensive dyes you could have. It was the hardest to get and the most expensive to acquire, which is why rich people only wore it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and like that's just present throughout all of history, and frankly, like there's no reason nowadays, with all that we know and all that we could know and all that we do know, there's no reason to
give a fuck
and to police other people's wardrobes. Because I'm not, you know what? And I'm ashamed to say it. I have bought from Shein before.
Woo!
Why are you wooing me? I have bought from Shein before. I've bought from Shein once.
Confessional.
This is confessional time, you know. Hey man, I'm not a perfect person. I've got flaws and I will be first in line to talk about them, you know?
Yeah.
Right? So I've bought from Shein before. I've only bought from Shein once. It was a big haul, but the reason for that being is because I was in quarantine and I was going through all of my clothes and I had realized that most of my closet was shit that I had collected from early high school that I absolutely did not feel like myself in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck. My hours at work have been cut. I don't know where else to buy cute clothes. You know, nothing really appeals to me. It's not like I can go thrift shopping. Yeah. It was early quarantine. This was in June.
This was like, you can't leave the house.
This was in June.
Or you will get arrested.
This was in June of 2020. We live in Miami. June of 2020 was when Miami was the epicenter of the world in terms of COVID. So going out was absolutely not an option for me at the time. So I was like, fuck. This is cheap clothes. I can shop around and like develop, you know, a basic foundational closet, and then anything else that I want from there, I can buy locally or I can go thrifting for, or I can whatever.
And build.
Because I'm aware of the ethics of this company. Shein, you know, utilizes fast fashion and slave labor, frankly.
Yeah.
You know,
so does Elon Musk and Apple.
Oh, absolutely, yes. But, you know, we're gonna hide the fact that we both have Apple laptops and I have an iPhone and AirPods. You know, so also, caveat, listeners. The consumer is not to blame for most of the modes of capitalism. There I said it.
Yeah.
Mostly it's the people at the top.
It's a struggle cycle.
Yes.
It's like if people stopped buying, then they would stop making. But also, people can't stop buying because the people who are making have made it something that you need to have these days. So Absolutely. It's this fucking thing where you're stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And this is, you know, for like a larger conversation.
Larger
conversation. We don't have to talk about it now. But, you know, and I bought these clothes and I use them sustainably. Which is to say that I'm wearing out these clothes until I cannot wear them out anymore. The top that I'm wearing, as of recording this, is from Shein.
And it's very cute.
But I've had it for 2 fucking years, which is, and like for the people who don't know, Shein markets mostly towards young girls who can afford like $200, $300 hauls every few months.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, a lot of the argument with Shein and other fast fashion companies is that, oh, they make it cheap and you shouldn't blame people who only wear these clothes because that's their only means of affording them. While, yes, that is true, these companies are not marketing towards people who cannot afford cute clothes. They are marketing towards people who can afford hundreds of dollars of cute clothes every few months. So the issue there is not with, you know, working class and lower class families. The issue is with, you know, who, but whatever. You know, what I'm trying to get at is clothing is a part of a capitalist system. And, you know, you get to play around with the limits and the means of it, you know, and express yourself within that. But again, it is a statement towards yourself, towards your likes, your dislikes, towards your wallet, towards your ideals, and how you spend your time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so a part of so many other cycles that you can't take it out of that and view it away from any of it. Because that's just not how you can't take it out of its context.
Yeah.
Right? I started like fully developing my sense of style in high school. I want to say junior year, senior year. That's when I started like more feminine forms of presenting myself. And in my senior year 2019 to 2020, we're the COVID graduation year. So our senior year got cut short. But before then, I was like experimenting. I love color coordination in my outfits. Like oftentimes I will pick one color and that will be like the basis for my outfit. This is when I started like color coordination, and I love wearing scrunchies, and I love like, matching my shoes to my belt to, like just having like these little concise details that bring the whole outfit together. Yeah. Also, and this is like separate, I could talk about this like at a later episode date, because if I bring it up here, it's gonna take forever. There are rules to building a good closet. A good closet is one that you can mix and match a million different pieces with and still not get bored of. Anyways, so I was trying to build that, and I was trying to figure that out for myself. And that's, senior year was really when I started focusing on that. So I would come to school back when you could. I would come to school and I would like experiment with different colors and different styles and hairdos and stuff like that. Just because that's like, what I wanted to do. And at the time, I was dating someone, and I remember this vividly, because it's literally a fucking core memory, and nothing has made me angrier. But this one day, I came in, I remember my outfit exactly. I was wearing an oversized cropped polo shirt that I had thrifted. It was navy green. I was wearing a matching navy green scrunchie. My hair was half up, half down. Baggy jeans with a chain. And I think I was wearing black Vans, I
vaguely remember this.
Yes, and like a thin black belt, right? So that was my outfit, and I had my eyeliner on, and it was drawn on too thick because I had just started learning how to do eyeliner, and I look back at that and I cringe. But I know how to do eyeliner now, so it was all worth it. So that was my outfit to paint a picture. This guy that I'm dating. We have a class together. He looks over at me and he goes, he was referencing my scrunchie because I love scrunchies. I still have like an entire box of them. He references my scrunchie and he goes, "Did you really match your scrunchie to the rest of your outfit?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he's like, "Aren't you putting a little bit too much effort in how you dress?
Bro.
Like, isn't it a little bit like too much effort, like derogatory?" And I was like, and I was fucking fuming. And I didn't say it to him because I was dating him and I wanted to make out with him. But internally I was fuming because I wasn't about to take this from a straight white man who wore the same PlayStation hoodie every single day to school. The same fucking PlayStation hoodie. So, like, why would you go to such lengths to diminish somebody over their form of self-expression? Fashion is one of the bravest things that you can do.
Yeah.
Because immediately,
I would agree.
It puts you there. Nobody asks to be perceived. We are all perceived regardless.
Yeah. And fashion itself can put you in danger.
Yes, very much so.
It's been seen on multiple occasions, in multiple different scenarios and contexts.
Throughout history!
Which we will not get into.
Which still happens. Which still fucking happens. I was listening to Beach Bunny earlier, and in one of their songs, it's called Blame Game. And in one of the songs, the lyrics deadass goes, because it's talking about, women being abused by men. One of the lyrics goes, police officers ask what she's wearing in response to,
it's true,
sexual assault. So, yes, fashion is one of the bravest and scariest things that you can do. Love fashion, and I love expression, and I want to experiment more with it, and I can't wait to do it. I just need to find more styles that appeal to me. Moral of this episode is fashion is art, fashion is media. Fashion has history and stakes to it, and fashion is you, and you are fashion. Ultimately, what's the one common denominator with anyone looking good at all? Confidence! Nothing is sexier and more fashionable than confidence. If you're not gonna put any effort in, do it with confidence. If you're gonna do the most effort, do it with confidence. Regardless, that's the sexiest thing in the world. Anyways, let's move on to our little horoscopes for the episode. Last time we did Aquarius and Taurus.
Woo!
Today we're gonna be doing Gemini and Capricorn, a sign that I love dearly, and a sign and Capricorn. All right.
I am doing Gemini.
So do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Quinn's a Gemini.
Guess what I am? Guess what I am, you guys? That's right, a Gemini. So for all my other Geminis out there, here's a horoscope. You should say yes to things, but also don't say yes to too many things. Because then you'll be like, why did I say yes to all these things?
Yeah.
Even though they're all things that you like doing and you're having fun while doing them, sometimes it can be too much. And I know we want to learn everything and absorb all that we can at any given moment, because I am very much, I have to learn everything and be knowledgeable and do this and have so many things in my brain. But when you try and learn too many things at once, you end up not learning anything, because then you stretch yourself too thin. So yes, learn things, but maybe learn one thing at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. Right now, I'm focusing on theater at a time. Yep. Theater only. If I tried to I tried it in the past. If I did theater and then I tried to learn also botany on the side.
Yes.
In the end, my botany did not work out, even though I very much want to do it again. My botany did not work out because I just didn't have the time to do it.
That's
so focus on one thing at a time. You won't stretch yourself too thin, and I promise you have so much time left on this earth to learn new things and new skills and new facts. Don't worry.
You only have so much bandwidth, Geminis, and I love you. I love Geminis. You don't deserve half the hate that you get. Frankly, there are so many other signs that deserve so much more hate. Frankly,
bitches hate Geminis because
for no
we're
reason.
quote unquote two-faced. What the hell does that mean?
I mean, Libras are right there, but that's
exactly.
That's neither here nor there. That's neither
Geminis
here nor there.
adapt to how you interact with them. So if you don't like Geminis, you probably don't treat them very well.
Fuck anybody who hates Geminis here. I love Geminis, some of my favorite signs.
So true.
With that said, let me move on to Capricorn. Capricorn women, light of my life. Honestly, love you all so much. For the rest of you.
What about gender non-conforming people?
Y'all are on thin fucking ice. Okay, no, Capricorns. All right. Real talk. I know that you guys think you have it all figured out. And you might, and I'll give that to you. But if you have it all figured out, maybe fucking vocalize that for the other people in your lives.
That's valid.
Holy shit! How are you supposed to expect anyone to be on your same page when you don't even communicate what book you're reading? Alright? I don't want to fucking hear it. Y'all think you have it all figured out, and you probably do. Like, I'll give you that much. Capricorns know what the fuck they're doing. But if you don't communicate that with other people, then what's the point? So please.
And in the end, your plans probably won't work out if you don't tell people what your fucking plans are.
Exactly, literally. Like, how are you going to anticipate all of these opportunities if you don't put it out there for the universe to hear and respond to you? Regardless. You guys, credit given where credit is due. I hate to say it, but it has to be said. You guys have good heads on your shoulders. You do. You're resourceful. You're cunning. Right? But fuck, dude, if you don't let anybody in on your master plans, how are you gonna get shit done? Evil villains need their accomplices.
They need their henchmen. They need their goons.
You need your goons. Not saying that you should treat anybody in your life like a goon. Just saying.
But you know.
that, accept people will offer you help when they know that you're seeking it.
Yeah.
So if you don't seek help or opportunity from other people, and if you don't vocalize things, shit's not gonna come your way. You can't do everything by yourself.
So true.
Also, don't only talk to people when you need them. Sorry, hate to say it. Either emotionally, in your career, in your relationships. Fuck that. Anyways, Capricorns, y'all are on thin fucking ice. Sleep well, my darlings. With that said, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Divers and Drivers. I very much enjoyed this one.
It was a good one. I like this one.
Please check out Watching New York on Instagram. Thank you so much for listening. Our socials are in the description. Please,
Divers and Drivers on basically every platform.
Divers and Drivers Official on Instagram. Please go ahead and share this with your friends, family, cousins, dogs, cats, ducks, geese, anybody with ears willing to listen to this podcast.
Your spirit guides,
your
the
spirit
universe,
guides,
your ancestors.
Give it some good ratings on Spotify. Share it with people on Instagram.
Go subscribe on YouTube.
Go subscribe on YouTube.
Turn on the notification bell.
Absolutely.
If you're listening on YouTube, click that subscribe button, and we'll give you a kiss.
Anyways, listeners, have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon. Happy Friday or weekend or week, whenever it is that you're listening. Stay safe out there and express yourself however it is you want, because ultimately the only person you have to impress is you.
Woo!
Have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, listeners. Goodbye.
Goodbye.